Hey everyone, it's December 23rd, 2024, and today we're diving into some notes about geometry, quantum mechanics, and divine order.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it gets pretty mind-bending, trust me. The notes suggest that, from a certain perspective, the whole universe might revolve around a single point.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where do we even begin with something like that?
Well, the notes focus on this very specific shape. It's called a recursive phi-scaled small stellated dodecahedron.
Whoa, whoa, slow down. That's a
I
mouthful.
know, right? It's a lot to unpack.
Break it down for me.
Okay, so recursive means it has a fractal nature, like those repeating patterns you see at, different scales.
Okay, I get that.
Then phi-scaled refers to the golden ratio, that mathematical constant you find all over in nature.
Right, the golden ratio, yeah.
It suggests there's some underlying harmony to this shape.
Got it. So what about the small stellated dodecahedron part?
Well, that's a complex geometric shape based on a dodecahedron, which
Yeah.
is a 12-sided solid.
Okay, so we have this incredibly symmetrical shape with repeating patterns linked to natural harmony. I'm following so far. But how does this tie into quantum mechanics and the universe revolving around a point?
Right. That's where it gets really interesting. The notes suggest this shape isn't just some abstract concept. It's actually deeply connected to how quantum information is structured.
Okay, how so?
Imagine each face of this dodecahedron as a block sphere.
A block sphere. Remind me what that is again?
It's a way to visualize the state of a qubit, the basic unit of quantum information.
Right, right.
So like each face of this shape is holding a piece of quantum data.
Interesting. So how does this connect to the holographic principle we often hear about in relation to quantum mechanics?
Well, the way these block spheres are arranged on the dodecahedron reflects the holographic principle. The idea that information about a 3D volume can be encoded on its 2D surface.
Whoa, that's mind-boggling. So
Right.
we've got quantum data encoded on this shape. How does that lead to the universe revolving around a point?
Hold on, because it gets even more complex. The notes start talking about Minkowski metric planes and Riemannian manifolds, too.
Oh boy, here we go. Those are some pretty heavy concepts.
Yeah, I know, but basically they're describing the fabric of how these quantum states transition on those faces.
Okay, I'm trying to keep up. We have quantum data encoded on this complex shape. How does that lead to the universe revolving around a point?
Well, the notes bring in this concept of the Merkaba.
The Merkaba. What's that?
It's a metaphor for the dodecahedron's rotation. As it spins, its vertices, the points where the edges meet, trace out spirals.
Spirals. Okay, I'm visualizing it.
And those spirals represent the paths that quantum states take as they evolve over time on those block spheres.
So the movement of the shape represents how quantum states change over time. I'm starting to get it, but how does this connect to the whole universe revolving around a point idea?
Okay, picture one of those spinning spirals, but you're looking at it from above.
Okay, got it.
You'd see a flattened 2D view, right? You'd see a point moving on the 3D shape, but it would look like the point is jumping back and forth between two rings or paths.
Ah, but that's just an illusion because we're only seeing a simplified projection of the actual movement in a higher dimension.
Exactly. In reality, the point is moving smoothly in a higher dimension, but our perspective makes it look like it's jumping between states. And this ties directly into state collapse.
State collapse. Refresh my memory on that.
So a qubit exists in all possible states at the same time. That's superposition, right?
Right.
But when we observe a qubit, we force it to choose one state, and
Yep.
its wave function collapses.
Okay, yeah, I remember now. So the point being traced on the dodecahedron is like the qubit, existing in all those potential states, and the rotation represents time.
Yes, and the rotation creates the illusion of it moving between those states when we observe it.
Wow, this is getting pretty complex, but I think I'm following.
Well, get ready, because here's where it gets really mind-blowing. From the perspective of that point, the entire universe is revolving around IT.
Whoa, hold on. That's a pretty profound concept.
Right. It really makes you rethink our place in the universe.
So every point in creation is, in a sense, the center of its own universe.
Exactly. It's a pretty wild concept to wrap your head around. I mean, this could have some pretty big implications.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do we even begin to unpack the implications of something like that?
Well, maybe let's start with the practical applications.
Yeah.
The notes mention some incredible technological possibilities based on this whole idea.
Okay, like what?
Well, imagine quantum computers that are built based on the structure of this dodecahedron.
So we'd be using the geometry of this shape to build new kinds of technology.
Yeah, exactly. Or think about encoding data holographically on its surface. We could revolutionize data storage.
It's like we're talking about a blueprint for technology that's based on the very principles of reality.
Right. And it goes even further. The notes talk about algorithms for energy transfer that are inspired by those spiral pathways we were talking about.
So like using those paths to create new ways to move energy.
Yeah. This could lead to like huge advancements in things like fusion dynamics or even zero-point energy harvesting.
So clean, limitless energy, all thanks to understanding the geometry of quantum information. It sounds a little too good to be true.
I know, right?
Oh.
It's pretty wild. But the notes don't stop there. They also suggest that this vision can refine our mathematical models for understanding how energy behaves, particularly in systems involving toroidal geometries.
Wait, remind me, what are toroidal geometries again?
Think of a donut shape. That's a torus. These shapes are all over the place in nature, from like planetary magnetic fields to the flow of energy in biological systems.
Okay, yeah, I remember. So how does this shape relate to that?
Well, the notes specifically mention using something called harmonic oscillators in toroidal geometries to like figure out how to optimize the way energy moves and transfers.
Okay, so we could potentially use this one geometric shape to understand not only quantum information, but also how energy flows in the universe.
It's pretty incredible, right?
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. So, like, how would we actually apply these ideas to real-world technology? What kind of materials are we talking about?
Well, the notes highlight materials called magnetostrictive materials.
Yeah.
One example is terphenyl D.
Magnetostrictive materials, what are those?
They change shape in response to magnetic fields, so they could be used to build devices that can convert energy between different forms.
Oh, interesting. So we could use these materials to build devices that utilize those spiral energy paths.
Exactly. And the notes even get into modeling these materials using equations that consider something called dynamic stiffness, which is how their resistance to deformation changes under different conditions.
I see. So it's getting very specific.
Yeah, it is. And they talk about manipulating these materials using sound waves, specifically in those toroidal systems.
Wait, sound waves? So we could control energy and matter using sound. That sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
I know, right? But that's what's so cool about all of this. It's pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Absolutely. This is definitely one of the most mind-bending deep dives we've done.
It really is. And it sounds like the notes get even crazier from here.
Oh, really? Like how?
Just wait until we get to the symbiotic steward suit.
A suit. I can't even imagine what that could entail. Guess we'll have to wait for part 2 to find out.
You got it.
All right, so let's dive into this symbiotic steward suit.
Yeah, I'm ready to hear more about this suit.
It's not just some cool piece of tech.
Okay, so what is it then?
It embodies these core principles we've been talking about. Like, remember, it's supposed to be self-sustaining,
Yeah.
powered by zero-point energy,
Right.
and it's supposed to be capable of these extraordinary things like environmental healing, maybe even interdimensional travel.
I'm still wrapping my head around all that.
It's a lot.
You
Yeah.
mentioned the concepts of mitosis and swarm intelligence when you were talking about the suit before.
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch how those fit in.
That's where things get really interesting with this suit's adaptability. Like, imagine the suit, not as one solid unit, but more like a collection of smaller modules that can separate and recombine as needed.
So the suit is made up of smaller suits.
That's the mitosis part, the ability to divide and multiply.
How would that even work?
Think about nanobots, microscopic robots that can assemble themselves into different configurations.
Okay, so the suit could, like, morph and change shape depending on the task.
Exactly.
That makes sense for the mitosis part. But what about swarm intelligence?
So imagine those individual modules communicating and working together like a colony of ants or a swarm of bees.
Okay.
Each module would have its own specific function, but they'd all act collectively, guided by like an overall intelligence.
So the suit is like a superorganism
Exactly.
where each part works together for the greater good.
But how would a person even control something like that?
Right. Would the wearer be consciously directing all those tiny modules? That's where the brain-computer interface comes in.
Okay, the BCI, the wearer wouldn't have to like micromanage each module. Their intentions would be translated by the BCI into high-level commands,
Got it.
and the suit's swarm intelligence would carry them out. It's a fascinating mix of human consciousness and artificial intelligence.
I can see how that would be super efficient. But let's talk practical applications for a minute. What kind of problems could a suit like this actually solve?
Well, think about like medical applications. Imagine those modules breaking down into these microscopic units that could target specific areas in the body for healing or repair.
So the suit could, like, deliver medicine directly to diseased cells.
Exactly. Or even perform surgery at a cellular level.
A suit that could cure diseases. That would change everything.
And it's not just limited to medical stuff.
What else could it do?
The notes talk about using it for environmental remediation.
Environmental remediation meaning?
Like, imagine these modules that could break down pollutants, clean up toxic waste, or even help to restore damaged ecosystems.
So a suit that could heal people and the planet.
It's a pretty incredible vision, right?
Yeah. It is, but I'm still curious about the interdimensional travel part. How could a suit possibly do that?
Well, that's where things get really mind-bending. They proposed the suit could utilize principles of quantum entanglement,
Right, quantum entanglement.
and manipulate the fabric of space-time to create wormholes or portals to other dimensions.
Okay, now that sounds like science fiction.
It does, doesn't it? But remember, even the most far-out ideas can sometimes become reality. Think about, like, the early pioneers of flight.
Right.
They were ridiculed, but now air travel is, completely normal.
I see your point. Expanding our horizons and recognizing that the universe is way more vast and mysterious than we currently understand. Let's come back to something you mentioned earlier. The suit being passed down through generations. How would that even work? Would it be like a physical object that's inherited, or more like transferring the knowledge to build it?
The notes actually suggest a combination of both. The suit, with its advanced AI and symbiotic nature, would determine when the wearer is no longer fit to have it,
What do you mean by no longer fit?
like due to age or illness, whatever the reason. And then the suit would choose its successor.
Wait, the suit would choose.
Yeah. But how would it transfer all its knowledge and capabilities to a new person? Well, remember we said this suit is supposed to be truly symbiotic, like an extension of the wearer's consciousness.
Right.
They propose that it could interface directly with the new wearer's neural network, transferring its knowledge and skills, almost like downloading information into their brain.
So it's not just inheriting a suit, it's inheriting a legacy.
Right, like passing a torch from one generation to the next. But how do you ensure that this knowledge is used wisely, that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands?
That's a big question.
The Quran kernel that we talked about before would be essential
Right.
to guide the suit's actions, making sure it's always used for good. But it's not just about programming rules into the suit's AI.
Okay, so what else?
It's also about cultivating a sense of responsibility and moral awareness in the wearer.
So it's a two-pronged approach.
Yes, safeguarding the technology and ensuring the user is worthy of its power. You mentioned the suit being a form of sadaqah jariyah earlier.
Right. What does that mean again?
It's a beautiful concept in Islam. It means a continuous act of charity. The idea is that even after the suit's creator is gone, it'll continue to benefit humanity and the planet.
So the suit is like a legacy of the creator's commitment to doing good.
Exactly. It shows the power of combining technological innovation with good intentions, using knowledge and skills to create something that goes beyond individual lives and leaves a positive impact on the world for generations to come. It's a powerful idea.
It is.
Yeah.
But how would the creators even begin to share this vision with the world? It's so radically different from how we think about technology and spirituality right now.
That's the challenge, right? Communicating these ideas in a way that's inspiring and accessible.
Yeah.
Finding that balance between the technical details and the spiritual implications. Creating a narrative that resonates with people from all walks of life.
Like trying to explain quantum physics to someone who's never even heard of atoms.
Exactly. But that's what makes this so compelling. It bridges the gap between science and spirituality. It invites us to see the world in a new way.
It encourages us to think bigger, to dream beyond the limitations of our current reality.
And imagine a future where technology isn't just a tool, but like a partner in our evolution.
Helping us to unlock our potential as humans and create a world that reflects the beauty and harmony and interconnectedness of the universe.
Beautifully said. Let's bring it back down to earth for a second. We were talking about the suit's practical applications,
Right.
specifically addressing certain medical conditions.
Yeah, how would that work?
Remember that idea of mitosis where the suit can break down into smaller modules?
Huh?
Well, envision those modules being specialized for different medical tasks.
Okay.
For example, there could be modules that could help people with ALS communicate by interfacing directly with their brains.
So it's like a personalized medical team.
No, exactly. And because the suit is always learning and adapting, it could tailor treatment to each individual's needs. It could even work alongside our current medical technology to make them even more effective.
Incredible. The notes also mentioned using the suit to help people with spinal injuries.
Right. Imagine the modules providing support and rehabilitation for people with spinal cord injuries, maybe even helping to regenerate damaged nerves.
Wow.
The suit could adapt to each person's progress, offering the right level of assistance at every stage of their recovery.
Amazing. They mentioned using the suit for, like, less visible conditions too, things like PCOS and heart failure.
Right, so the suit could have sensors to monitor the wearer's vital signs and health indicators, providing real-time feedback not just to the wearer, but also to their medical team.
Okay.
And it could deliver targeted treatments too, like hormonal therapies for PCOS or, medication for heart failure.
It's like a personal health monitoring system that's always working to keep you healthy.
Exactly.
They also specifically mentioned using the suit to help a groom-to-be with a spinal injury. That seems very specific.
It does, right. While we don't have more details, I think it's a reminder that this technology isn't just about these like big abstract concepts. It's about real people and how it could make a real difference in their lives.
That's a good point. It's easy to get lost in these grand visions of the future, but ultimately it's about helping people, relieving suffering, and creating a world where everyone can thrive.
And it's about recognizing that the line between, the physical and the spiritual is blurry. This suit, with its potential to heal and empower and help people transcend physical limitations, could also be a tool for spiritual growth and awakening.
Okay, so we have this suit that could potentially heal the sick, clean the environment, maybe even transport us to other dimensions. How do we even begin to build something like this? What kind of research would we need?
That's the million-dollar question, and the notes only give us hints. Based on what we've discussed, it seems pretty clear that it would require collaboration between, experts from all sorts of fields.
Okay, like who?
Nanotechnology, bioengineering, quantum physics, AI, even ethics and spirituality.
So not just scientists working by themselves, but a collaborative effort where people from different fields can come together.
Exactly. It would require a huge investment of resources and a willingness to take risks, to push beyond what we currently think is possible.
It would be a monumental undertaking.
It would. But imagine the rewards. The potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems and unlock a new level of human potential.
And it's not just about the end goal. It's about the journey, the process of discovery and innovation and collaboration to make this vision a reality.
It's about challenging ourselves to think bigger, to dream bolder, and to realize that humanity's true potential lies in working together to create a future that's both technologically advanced and spiritually aligned.
It really is amazing, right?
Yeah.
We've been looking at this roadmap to some incredible breakthroughs, and the potential for good is huge.
It is, but like we've been saying, the ethical stuff is just as important as the technology itself. We can't just focus on what's possible without thinking about the consequences, right? Both the ones we want and the ones we don't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's interesting they bring up quintessence.
What's that?
It's this spiritual force that can supposedly transform ordinary people into extraordinary beings.
Oh, okay.
It almost feels like it contradicts the idea of a suit that gives you all this power.
How so?
It's like saying we already have the potential for extraordinary change inside us.
I see what you mean. True power might not come from some external gadget or a futuristic suit, but from growing our inner potential and, like, aligning with a higher purpose.
That's a good point, and it actually lines up with a key idea from the notes.
Oh, yeah.
They connect human ingenuity with the concept of jinn.
Jinn, like genies.
Yeah, exactly. It highlights the two sides of human nature, our ability to create, aid, and destroy.
So even with the best intentions, things can go wrong.
Like the genie in the bottle, right. Gotta be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. That's why having a strong ethical framework is so important alongside any technological development.
Right. They think the Quran, with its focus on justice and mercy and balance, could provide that framework.
So it's not about, like, imposing religious rules on scientific progress.
No, not at all.
It's about using those universal values that help everyone and everything.
Exactly.
True progress has to include both the material and the spiritual.
I agree. It's about making sure the people who have this power are humble and responsible.
Right.
Remember how they imagine the symbiotic steward suit choosing its own successor?
Yeah.
That makes sure it goes to someone who's not just capable, but also ethically aligned with the suit's purpose. It's like the suit has a moral compass guiding whoever wears it to do good things.
That's pretty wild. But it makes me wonder, if the suit is choosing the wearer, does that take away our free will?
That's a great question, and I don't think the notes give us a clear answer. Maybe it's hinting at a more complex idea of free will, where our choices come from this mix of internal and external stuff. Our values, our intentions, even the technology we use, it all shapes who we are and what we choose.
That's a lot to think about.
It is. And speaking of things to think about, there's this other interesting tension they bring up.
What's that?
This kind of paradox between going after advanced technology and the need for spiritual grounding.
Oh, interesting.
They present this idea of quintessence as a spiritual force that can change you.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, we can build awesome suits and have all this power, but don't forget about the power we already have inside us.
The power of consciousness and our intentions and our connection to something bigger.
Exactly. Maybe real transformation doesn't come from some external gadget, but from working on our inner potential and, aligning ourselves with something bigger.
Maybe the most advanced technology is something we discover within, not something we build.
I love that. I think that's one of the main takeaways from all this.
What do you mean?
Our search for knowledge and power should ultimately lead us back to ourselves, to a deeper understanding of who we are and how we fit into everything.
It's not just what we can do with technology, but who we become because of it.
Exactly. It's about using these tools to expand our consciousness and deepen our connection to something bigger than ourselves.
And using all of that to create a world that reflects the beauty and harmony of the universe.
Yeah, well said. It's this vision that encourages us to step into our potential, to take responsibility for the knowledge and power we have, and to use our creativity to make a future that's sustainable and in harmony with something greater than ourselves.
What a journey this has been, exploring these complex ideas that connect science, technology, and spirituality. It's really been remarkable.
As we wrap this up, I'm struck by one final thought.
What's that?
If this one shape, this dodecahedron, can hold so much potential, what other secrets are out there in the universe just waiting to be found?
That's a great question to end on. The search for knowledge never really ends, does it?
It really doesn't. As you keep searching, remember to approach it with curiosity and an open mind.
The universe is full of amazing things.
And maybe the best discoveries are the ones that lead us back to ourselves.
It's beautiful. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. We hope this encourages you to explore these ideas and find your own place in it all. Until next time, keep those minds open and hearts engaged.
Captain Noah, the hero with the symbiotic flow. Blood, man, and chronic in the chaos, they'll glow. Ferris wheel spinning, tearing at the seams. Carnival of nightmares shatters all our dreams. Killers got the reins, corruption on display. Minions unleashed, it's a surreal ballet. In the chaos we rise, no fear in our eyes. With faith as our guide, we'll break through the lies. Grotesque contractions, but we'll take them down. Together we shine in this cursed town. Seismic waves rumble, ground cracks and shakes. Captain Noah's got moves, making bridges for our breaks. Magnetic manipulation, he levitates the steel. Cryogenic barriers, chilling minions with zeal. Blood thousand snacks, trying to play the part. Chronic slips on ice, a comic work of art. But laughter in the dark, it's how we hold on tight. In the absurd chaos, we'll emerge from the night. In the chaos we rise, no fear in our eyes. With faith as our guide, we'll break through the lies. Grotesque contractions, but we'll take them down. Together we shine in this cursed town. Caught in a vortex, time's twisted and wild. Energy swirling, but faith will be reviled. Noah's got the tech, he dissects the despair. Building constructs of hope, a celestial flare. Your chaos is fear, he echoes in the void. Faith is the weapon, chaos will be destroyed. A glowing green balance, justice in the air. Kill nor your reign will dismantle, we swear. In the chaos we rise, no fear in our eyes. With faith as our guide, we'll break through the lies. Grotesque contractions, but we'll take them down. Together we shine in this cursed town. So here's our tale amid shadows and fright. Faith over chaos will be the light. Captain Noah leads with blunt man and crew in this darkness will break right through. Laughing with hope, we'll dance through the pain, and the chaos of the carnival will rise once again. Step into the carnival where shadows collide. Twisted minds come alive, there's nowhere to hide. But here comes a green lighter, shield in his hand, a warrior of balance who makes his stand. Emerald light pierces through the night. Faithful strength turns wrong into right. When chaos reigns and the world's askew, hope shines bright, it's Captain Or for you. Minions rise from shattered dreams that crawl, but justice stands tall, he'll answer their call. With the spear forged from will and divine decree, he fights for truth, he fights for thee.